Hello, hello, good evening, good morning, good whatever, wherever in the world you are. You have found your way to the main twitch.tv/B gaming channel, where we are bringing you a Link to the Past randomizer tournament round of 32 match between Linlinlin and Buane. This is game 2. They played game 1 same time yesterday, had an absolute party of a seed. Chat got to see their favorite ice rod on the Master Sword pedestal for that one. And Buane took the win by a few minutes, bringing us to today. So calling this race tonight, I am Reg. Joining me on the mic is Tracy. Tracy, hello. What are we going to be seeing tonight?
Well, tonight we are seeing a map compass shuffle. It's been a while since we've seen one of these. Should be interesting. Basically, what that means is the maps and the compasses are going to be shuffled into the general item pool, so they won't necessarily occur in their dungeons. And we won't know whether something's a pendant or a crystal until we either get a map and do a map check, or when we actually get the item on the boss.
For people that are a lot more familiar with the randomizer, you could consider this a sort of key sanity light mode, because it's pretty much key sanity except the keys remain in their own dungeons. For those of you less familiar with the randomizer, it's pretty much exactly as Tracy just explained. So puts a lot more value on dungeons, 2 more potential items to find in each one, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, and there are a couple other ways we can find out things. So if we go to Sarasala and ask him where the green pendant is, that'll put that on the map, and we can find out our 5-6 crystals by going to the big bomb vendor in the dark world. So there are a couple other ways, and then there's some process elimination that goes on from learning the rest of the maps and stuff. The compasses do a little bit, not nearly as important, but they will show us how many items were checked in each dungeon, how many items available. So you'll see that in the HUD when someone enters a dungeon with a compass.
Right off the bat, we see a small key in the sanctuary that goes to the castle and the sewers. Not randomized. Well, it is randomized, but it's not weird.
Yep. Both runners decided to start at Sanctuary.
Yeah, that's fairly normal. We saw this from both of them last night as well. They got the flippers out of that last night, which led to some silly things happening right off the bat, but we aren't seeing that right away with just a small key. I'm pretty much expecting the normal Lost Woods into Kakariko route for both players here.
Looks like Lynn is going to do a couple extra, trying to get bombs from the bush crab. Doesn't get any. Maybe we'll check the lumberjack. Yeah, he's going to check that.
Yeah, he'll check the lumberjack, then he'll kill that pickle again and set up a higher tier tree pole. That was a Book of Medora.
That is an interesting item to see, because that might be required to get into desert, but then again, it might not be. So
even if it's not required, there's still 2 tablets that we can't check without that book.
Yeah, that, shovels, powder, mushrooms, those are things you don't want to see there. You want to see an item you either know you don't need or know you do need.
Yeah, or at least if you see a fetch quest up there, at least make it a bottle. That way you can find one of the 3 other ones instead.
Yeah, exactly.
That bomb pickup in the lumberjack is nice. It lets our runners clear out the main part of the Kakariko village. It takes exactly 3 bombs in the village proper, 1 here in Blind's hideout, 1 in the well, and then 1 in the chicken hut.
Oh, already seeing a moon pearl and a sword on Buane's side.
Also seeing our first compass of the game.
And our first map to Ganon's Tower, one of the useless maps.
Yep. Ganon's Tower map and Hyrule Castle map do absolutely nothing for the runners. Those dungeons don't have crystals, don't have pendants, so no need.
Yeah, let's see what the well has for us. Some more bombs.
That refill's good. That ensures that they'll be able to get the race game if they so choose, and also the South Shore checks without having to buy additional bombs.
Yep, and with that sword, they won't need to use bombs to kill the mini Moldorms, so won't have to buy bombs most likely.
Buane's got exactly 90 rupees after those bulls. He's just going to drop right back in the well. There's 10 under the pots here. That is exactly bottle vendor money.
Yeah, not something you really want to leave behind. It's a very easy check to forget if you leave it behind. So, a good call to go ahead and just get the money now and just do it. Just a piece of heart, but now he doesn't have to worry about it.
Yeah, and more importantly, saving the time of having to go into Blind's hideout to farm 30 rupees from the back there, which is more money, but he didn't need the total, so the well is faster, and we're seeing Lin do the exact same thing here. So not much going on in Kakariko Village today. Got the Moon Pearl and got the Sword, both of which are fairly nice, but neither one opens any new locations for us as is.
Well, certainly not in Logic. They could use the Moon Pearl to do some fake flipper checks, but yeah, not a whole lot going on right now.
Okay, yeah, that's true. It's just not in Logic, but we may still see it anyways, even if they can't afford King Zora, just because it is 2 checks that are fairly in the way after you do the South Shore. But we are seeing the blind pull of the race game from Buane. I like this play a lot more when Kakariko's is relatively barren as it was this seed.
But just a compass, and he doesn't care about. If it was a map, maybe go for it. Compass, it's kind of nice to see the numbers up top, but you really don't need it.
Yeah, those compasses are almost more a convenience for viewers than the runners at this point, because you don't get to the top 32 of this tournament without being really, really good at the game, and those guys know their item counts by heart.
And a shovel.
That's an interesting place to find it, because you can't just walk back up to the dig spot from here, and if you decided to anyways, that would be really slow and inefficient.
And Lynn gonna go ahead and check out the escape. Gonna go to Uncle first.
Having a sword, this makes complete and total sense, and that's progression.
Yep. Gloves are really nice to get at this point. Gives him some more out-of-logic options. He could break up to the mountain without the lamp. Wouldn't be surprised to see that. Also gives him another way to get Zora, but that's actually puts Zora in Logic, so that's might make it more tempting to do the fake flipper sequence break.
Yeah, I would be a bit surprised to see a sequence break up the mountain without a way to get to the east side, which would be either the hook shot or the mirror plus hammer combo. But what the gloves do unlock in Logic for us is access to the back 3 chests in the sewers, which without the lamp, we're not supposed to be able to. Well, we're not supposed to be able to reach them without either lamp or glove. Let me just put it that way, cleaner.
Or fire rod these days. In version 31, the fire rod opening up dark rooms with torches.
While that is true, well, hey, there's Dark World access.
Nice.
Anyways, while your note about the fire rod is correct, I have been told, though I have not verified this myself, that the Logic will not expect you to go to the back 3 chests in the sewers without the lamp. It'll only expect you to go to the Dark Cross, even though there are torches in both rooms, and you can be expected to reach the Dark Cross from either direction.
Yep, I didn't know that. But
I didn't either, and my first impression was sounds like a bug, but I was told that's how it is.
But yeah, having mitts less than 8 minutes in is really nice. doesn't get rid of the Aga for Dark World play quite yet because it doesn't give us access to the pod area yet since we don't have flippers. At least not in logic access, I should say.
Yeah, there are a few ways.
I mean, it's funny when I play one of these Cs where you got one of those marginal items on at the lumberjack where it's like, I don't know if I want to get this or not, or need to get this or not. It's almost nice to have the required Aga Dark World access, just so you don't have to worry about it. It doesn't look like we're getting that here.
Nope. At this point, what you would be looking for there is hammer and flippers somewhere on the East Dark World. But even that would get sequence broken around.
Yep.
So.
Okay, we're going to see that back of escape.
Yep. He does have a small key, which was in the sanctuary, so there is an item in the Dark Cross room. We'll see whether he goes for that here or waits for a lamp or something. Looks like he's going. And Buane, actually, after finishing his South Shore, is going checking this shovel pretty much immediately.
Blue mail's nice. Not necessary, but nice luxury to have a little extra protection there.
It's nice until the exact moment you decide you need to death warp.
So true.
Well, Buane's on his way up to the castle now, so he's going to get his double gloves for Dark World access in fairly short order. And then I'm wondering whether Lin will take the South Shore checks over going directly to the Village of Outcasts. Density is there, either way, really. But we know the South Shore doesn't really pay out in any significant way.
Yeah, you'll notice we haven't seen any kind of map checks. I don't believe we've actually picked up any maps from the Light World, but we have picked up several maps from the Dark World, so we'll be able to get some idea of what's going on in terms of pendants and crystals.
Buane did pick up a Desert Palace map in the Mini Mortem Cave, but you're right, we have not seen the check on that yet. And Lin booking it over to the village, it looks like it's going to be the Dark World for him.
Yeah, I like this. There's going to be later chances to check that area in the South Shore. You've got Dark World access now. You might as well at least start with that. You might think he has an advantage going here since maybe he feels like Buane didn't do the escape yet.
Yeah, and just judging from how both runners played last night, that sort of mentality I know is at the forefront of their minds for a lot of decisions they're making here. These two runners know each other's routing fairly well. And we're seeing Lin go into Skull Woods first. This is a 4-item, although there's up to 2 that could be in the back that he won't be able to get. I think the boss is actually guaranteed to have an item in Map Compass Shuffle because Mothula can't have Small Key. But regardless, he's going to loop this play all the way around to the Hype Cave area, just north-south.
Yeah, that's the one of the bad things about having your Dark World access with mitts and no hammer is you just have that one place to get into the Dark World, so you always have to go ahead and start from there. So yeah, you have to, if he wants to check, get all the way to Hype Cave, he has to start here and head down.
I was wondering if Buane was going to set up a Death Warp there, but it didn't look like it. Oh, that's why he preserved the guard, though. So yeah, blue mail. Have fun.
And of course, Skullwood still has a whole bunch of keys in it, so...
That mirror is a great find for the items they have now. That'll make their routing so much more efficient as they make their way down to Hype Cave. And they can just like do Hype Cave to Dam to Mini Moldorm Cave and so on.
And we're going to see the escape portion from the front side. Except not so much because no lamp.
Skullwood's having the boots in the mirror feels so good.
Wow, that's...
Those are two items that you love to have.
And interesting, I think because the mirror and the boots, that's a really interesting find. It looks like Linlinlin is going to go ahead and do the north checks because you can now check all these with the mirror and the boots.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
Yeah, I like this choice too.
Yeah, once they're done here, he can just dash right back to the village, do the actual 3 checks in the village proper, Thieves Town if he so chooses. So I do see runners often skip that without the hammer just so they don't risk orphaning that big chest, leaving it behind. And then just continue the loop.
And a little bigger deal in Map Compass because it's more, now there's, instead of 4 items, there's going to be 6 items.
Yep. And you can't have a map or, well, you can technically have a map or a compass in that big chest, but the odds are a lot lower. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot greater risk that you're leaving something behind. Oh, I see why he bonked there. If he didn't boots bonk to get behind the portal, he would have mirror bonked on that little piece of wood sticking into the area.
That's good game knowledge. I wouldn't have thought of that.
Yeah, your average runner, myself included, would have definitely mirror bonked on that at least once. So.
And Buane gonna get the bad news of the book on the lumberjack.
Yep. Boots do make that reachable, so it's basically just a matter of, at this point, you've got to gamble on when you need it or just gamble that you don't.
Yep. And that's a really tough call. And like you said earlier, with the book, you've got the 2 checks on the tablets, and of course, we've already talked about Desert.
Desert, we are just a flute away from being able to get into, though, with the items Lynn has, that Mitts and Mirror specifically. I see chat's asking if there's any chance Lynn picks off the money in the library with those boots and that mirror. Honestly, looking at his total, I would do it just so I could afford to play the dig game. You need 80 to play that.
That's reasonable. And we see a lamp over there, so that'll be nice. We have a fire source now.
Yeah, that's great. You normally would like to see the fire rod as your fire source just because lamp does a lot for darkroom logic, but these runners are good enough at the darkroom to say don't need it. The fire rod you need for other things.
We are getting our first look at the mountain here on Buane's side.
Did he even show us what was on top of Speck Rock? I didn't see it.
I don't think he did. And we just got some flippers over in Thieves Town, so that's a nice find for Lynn. And that'll open up the eastern part of the Dark World, so we don't have to worry about Aga for Dark World anymore.
Yeah, there is still the one super corner case of putting the hammer inside the Pyramid Fairy with the 5/6 crystals. Mm-hmm. But until we know what those crystals are, that's really not a concern because of how many Dark World crystals require the hammer. And even if that does turn out to be the case, just sequence break it. We've got the mirror.
Yep.
And we were talking earlier about bottles in the sit kit, I believe. Or were we talking about that before the race? I can't even remember. We were talking about that a bit, though. Mm-hmm. But regardless, Lynn found one in the Dark World Kakariko. So that's just a mirror trip away to turn in that sit kit check.
He's got to be a little careful here, down to 1 heart. In one of the worst spots you can have, be down to 1 heart in Thieves Town.
Yeah, you can see he's not dashing, not attempting the so-called God Pixel dash or anything, just because even if you get the right pixel for your dash, RNG can still say no, then you're dead. But he gets through that really cleanly.
And he'll have to be careful of the little crickets here. These things will kill him. I believe they're 2 hearts of damage on green mail. And he's only got 1.
Yep, those things are the Dark World equivalent of the rats, but they do so much damage.
And as we also see Buane checking out Skullwoods, he'll be happy he did that since we boots and mirror here.
Yep, also got that full magic drop out of the side room. You normally see that when you've got the fire rod and you're actually going to clear the dungeon. But here, he's got the Cane of Burna, which actually uses up a disgusting amount of magic if you leave it on.
Oh yeah. Especially without half magic.
Well, we're approaching something interesting on Lin's side. Keep an eye on whether this chest in the cell back here has a small key. If it does not, that means the small key is locked in the big chest. We won't see the big chest at all, but we're not risking leaving an item behind. Unfortunately, everything I just said is meaningless because there's the key.
Yeah, of course it's the small key. That's always the danger of the early Thieves Town play. We don't even know if this is a crystal or pendant yet. We'll find out in short order, I believe.
Even if it's a pendant, though, it's still between 5 and 6 checks when you enter it.
Oh, sure.
Actually, between 6 or 7. Well, no, you've got to subtract the 2 keys. So, yeah, between 5 and 6, depending on whether you can get the big chest or not.
All right, Lin surviving the blind fight very nicely. Only took 1 heart of damage. And just 10 hours for that trouble. And, oh, but we do get a crystal, so that's good news for him.
That's good. I would be curious to see if we get a menu from him to determine whether that's a 5/6 crystal or not, because we can see that on the menu. Those ones do light up red.
Nope.
That's fine. The bomb shop guy will tell us what the 5/6 are anyways. But it is important to note, in case it comes into play later, Lin did leave a potential item in the big chest. Anything could be in there.
Anything but the hammer, of course.
Okay, yes, anything but the hammer, since we have to have the hammer to open it.
But yeah, that's always something that weighs on your mind when you finish Thieves Town and you know there's something in that chest.
Okay, Buane left his mirror portal for King's Tomb in the same place that Lin did. See if he mirror bonks or not. Lin is opting to play the archery game to raise money instead of taking 300 off the library. But hey, this is fun.
So far, so good. Very well done.
Yep. It's not quite 300, but it's still a good chunk of change. And Buane didn't mirror bonk, so...
And it will pay for the digging game.
Yep. This will be somewhere between 1 and 30 digs for a random item.
And it's just a bottle.
Doesn't do anything for us because we already had one to open up Sick Kid, but it is a bit of safety at least if you fill it with a potion or a fairy or similar.
And we're going to get a smith chain, at least the start of it, from Lin's side. And
Yeah. He can do this, and then he can grab the purple chest afterwards. He is leaving the hammer pegs behind because he has no hammer. And he's leaving the magic bat behind because he has no powder, but he can come back for both of those pretty much at his leisure once he gets the appropriate items.
it's not as bad if you leave both of them behind, coming back for 2 checks at the end. Or later on, not nearly as bad as if you're just having to get back to 1.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. If you're gonna leave something, then leaving something else just to make it more appealing it feels good. Even if it feels bad because you're not making checks. Here's the next check for Lin on the south side of the world. Mirroring up on this, you can check this cave.
And
then
not pick up the 5 rupees.
Nope. He can just take his mirror portal, walk right back up to old Stumpy, who gives you the shovel in the vanilla game, which you can just immediately mirror and check for a flute. Unfortunately, Randomizer is not quite so convenient.
I don't think Lin actually checked the dig spot earlier, so he could have mirrored and done it right then and there.
Lin has no shovel.
Lin hasn't gotten the shovel. Oh, that was in the South Shore checks.
Yep. It was in the dam specifically, so Lin won't be very far off from getting it, because I'm fairly confident he will check the dam alongside Hype Cave, but does not have it there.
And if you're wondering the reason why he was able to ditch that purple chest and still make the check is there's a newer glitch found where if you lose the chest but manage to mirror right next to the guy there that opens up that chest for you, you will think you still have it. The game will think you still have it and go ahead and give you the item.
Yep. Hey, there's a good item to find. I'm sure that's a relief for these guys.
Oh, 2 good items. We got a Master Sword and an Ice Rod, and we won't have an Ice Rod hunt. And sorry, we won't have the second Ice Rod on the pedestal seat in a row.
Yep. It is worth noting, chat did ask where the Bombos medallion was. Just to provide a brief recap, that was in the upstairs attic of Thieves Town, which Buane went into that dungeon, checked the first floor, got the flippers, and then left.
And we see 5-6 crystals on Ice Palace and Hera. So, we know a couple of our crystals now.
Yeah, Lin can clear Hera, but he needs a hammer to be able to clear Ice Palace at this point. Then not checking the dam. That's... I guess he wants Mini Moldorm Cave more, but I don't know. He was right at the front door of it.
Maybe I'll try and get it when he's going into Swamp if he decides to make that play.
I guess, but with no hammer, no hook shot, I would be shocked to see that play made. You're not going to get very far.
No, you're not. And I still don't think we've seen any kind of map check, despite several of the maps that we've seen.
Yeah, I haven't noticed one either. But at this point, it doesn't really accomplish much. With the items we've got and what we still need, okay, that's a good way to get around the portal. If you're carrying something, you don't go through the Dark World portal. And actually, I guess if he wants to stay in the Dark World after this, go to the Palace of Darkness area, or go directly into Swamp Palace. His routing with that does actually make a lot of sense.
Well, we already talked about these runners having a pretty good idea of what each other's going to do. So this may be well, Buane is definitely not going to check this. So I'm going to check this. And if it's something good, then I get a lead.
Yeah, Lin was the first one into Pendant Swamp Palace yesterday by a good chunk of time. I think it was like half an hour later by the time Buane went there. But in that race, they had full clear access. This race, not so much.
And just a bug net, so nothing useful, unfortunately.
No, but we'll see where he's going to go next now. With the way he's going, I'm expecting it to be either Palace of Darkness directly or just the Pyramid and Catfish. Oh, and he can blind pull the Lake Hylia Island item with the mirror here. So this is new too. Oh, Buane's doing the exact same thing.
Just a piece of heart. Maybe also check the other flippers checks. We still are nowhere near Zora money. But we can certainly do the other checks here if we want to.
There's 300 rupees on the library,
know,
guys.
Which actually doesn't quite get... Lin would still be quite a bit short, and Buane even more so.
Okay. Oh, Lin's using this. He's going to mirror to Ice Rock Cave?
Yeah, he hasn't checked that yet.
Yeah. I've never seen this before in an actual, like a standard race. But it's super cool.
Oh, we see a tempered sword in Sarasla's closet.
You see a 5/6 crystal map.
It looks like Buane is going to make the pod play over here first. We'll see if it's bow locked. I don't know that he has a potion if he wants to sequence break that.
The two bottles we found so far, one was empty, one had a B, and
That's
he
what I was
didn't
thinking.
stop anywhere. So if he has a potion, I completely missed him making his way over to a shop to buy it.
Now you can do, it is possible to do a mimic clip without the bottle, but or without a potion. A little more difficult though. But we are not immediately bow locked.
Yeah.
And Lin gonna show us catfish.
I'm pretty sure based on the way he's been going, yeah, he's gonna mirror to Zora after this. Not gonna be able to pay the 500 rupee price, but still 3 other items he can at least check.
Okay, still not bow locked over on Buane's side, as we see 2 small keys so far.
Yeah. He's got 2 more chests, although since we've seen 2 keys already, technically speaking, neither of these need to be keys. It's just likely that they will be. Yeah.
Did he just trade a B for a B over there on Lin's side? I think he was hoping to get a potion.
I think he traded a regular B for a gold B, so he at least traded up.
Yeah, there you go. And just bombs on the ledge there, so...
So on Buane's side, we have seen 4 small keys in the front of Palace of Darkness. Every single chest he's checked so far has been a small key. Now, the rule for pod keys is that there have to be 4 chests in the first 6, which includes the 2 keys on the bow lock side. We have met that requirement, so technically both of those items on the right can be items instead of keys.
And at least one of them.
Yeah.
We just saw the 5th key, so yep, at least one of them will be an item.
Right. Still possible that the 6th key is over there, though.
It does keep us from being bow locked, since that 6th key would then be used to get to Helmasaur, and of course, Helmasaur's bow locked regardless.
The
one item.
The key door is after the bow. Yeah. The key. I was trying to remember where the key door was. It is after the bow statue. And
okay,
there's 6 keys. So
there's 6 keys. So yeah. We have a
Yeah,
couple items there, but don't know what they are, and they're not keys. Could be a big key, though. We might not be able to check the big chest here.
We did see a crystal at the Palace of Darkness. And we saw a green pendant swamp, but I think we had already seen that on Buane's side. It was already marked on the tracker.
Oh, and there is that big key, so we will get to clear everything but the right side right now.
Oh, if you're going to come into pod without a bow, this is pretty much the ideal. Because then when you come back with the ability to full clear it, you'll just go down the right side, get those 2 checks, and go to the boss.
Yep, absolutely.
Of course, the even better ideal is you come to pod without a bow, and there's a bow in like the first chest.
Yeah.
But
so interesting, Buane not even mirroring to check Eastern at all.
I can sort of see it, but only sort of.
You're right there. It could be, I guess, 5 items if the bow showed up there.
I think it would be only 4 items guaranteed. But I think it would be a guarantee.
Yeah, 4
items.
It would be
guaranteed 4. So, now with the checks we've made, the interesting question, that book is still sitting there. And we've got full access to Aghanim. What checks haven't we seen?
We haven't gone to Tower of Hera. That's the main one I can think of.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Spectacle Rock and Tower of Hera, because Buane didn't show us what was on top of that rock either. So that is 5 items. And then after that, do we have anything left besides Aga for the book?
I can't think of anything. Did either of them go to Agina?
No, I think you're right about that too. So 6 items.
And I don't know that we mentioned it earlier before, so you notice that we hear the pendant music in pod. The music is also shuffled in the map compass shuffle, so the music will not tell you whether this is a pendant or a crystal. Oh, we're gonna get the hover. This is one of the harder hovers to my understanding. Since I can't do it at all, I can't speak to it myself.
This is the hardest hover, period.
That's
no understanding about it.
And Lynn gives it a quick try and decides, nope, I can't do it today.
Chat is bringing up a couple locations. They've mentioned the first chest of Swamp Palace. They've mentioned the Graveyard Ledge. We have seen both of those. They have also mentioned Hammerless Ice Palace, which we have not seen.
That's true.
So that's extra locations as well.
Hammerless Ice Palace is not a fun thing to do. And apparently Buane did go to Agina, so that will not be a no check.
I must have missed that at some point as well, because I cannot remember what was there.
Obviously nothing interesting. And we still don't have Zora money.
Yeah, not sure where Buane thought he was going. He saw the bombs on the ledge.
Probably a little bit of muscle memory to continue on to Zora, and then looked at his money situation and realized, yeah, that's not going to work.
Okay, so I guess Lynn plans to clip the Mimic here. And he's basically just moving this Mimic down and left in a precise way that it clips through the wall and will go off screen just like that. And that opens the door.
Well, there's some more rupees for Buane. Still not enough for Zora, but he's going to go ahead and give us our first look into Tower of Hera.
Now, but did you see what Lynn got with his sequence break?
I did not. I was
got
busy
a red
looking
cane.
Oh.
And the 1/2.
Neither of which does much for us right now, though. Not having to search for that cane will be nice.
Yeah, it's more of a reassuring to have guarantees that you're not going to have to dip Mire under silly circumstances and so on. Unfortunately, we know Lin's not going to find anything else of real value here in Pod, but that cane alone is a psychologically reassuring find.
And since we know that Pod's a crystal, Buane will no doubt get that item when he comes back here.
Yeah, it's just a matter of whether he'll have to go somewhere like Mire without it first.
Yep.
I guess Mire's really the only place of note that he could go without it.
So far, not seeing much on Terra.
Nope. I'm not too surprised, but I am a little disappointed.
So we have a very quick fight with Tempered Sword.
Yep, slash plus spin equals dead worm with no enraged phase.
And a mushroom,
Fetch
so...
quest. That mushroom would be great for Lin once he gets it. He can use the fake powder glitch to check the magic back.
Oh, yeah.
Lin is showing us Eastern Palace, which we didn't see before. This is going to be a set 4 items for him because maps and compasses are out of the pool, which adds 2 to it. And there's 3 normally, so that's 5 total, but the big key has to be somewhere other than the boss to subtract 1 to make 4.
Meanwhile, Buane is going to go ahead and check the basement. Since Tower Hera gets upgraded to 4 items in map compass, as long as we have that small key, we know there's an item there.
Yep, and unfortunately we did see that small key, so it was not locked behind itself. And there's a bunch of tiles destroyed, and we'll see what's in this chest.
Well, we have Zora money. At least that's something.
Too bad we already been there.
Yeah, it might be a while before he gets back there. But at this point, he's got a lot of out-of-the-way stuff going on.
Oh, this is actually... He can sort of combine that with the mushroom turn in here.
Yeah, looks like
he'll be in that part of the world.
Yeah, this is definitely a play to the mushroom. That's what that whirlpool portal is usually used for.
Yeah, it's just a question of whether he'll try to preserve it for a fake powder or if he'll just go check Zora immediately afterwards.
And we just see a map. The other useless map, as it's just a Hyrule castle.
If I were Buane, I would have just reset my game there on principle. But he is making the Zora check, which this is pretty much the closest he'll ever be to it, so probably the best time to do it. Meanwhile, on Lin's side, we didn't talk about it much, but he did get all the checks in Eastern Palace, and none of them were worth anything.
That book is looking more and more necessary.
Yep, I think we are down to just Ice Palace without the hammer as the alternative.
So without the hammer, the entire right side of Ice Palace, not the entire, most of the right side is just inaccessible. Of course, you can't get to Cold Stare, so it's definitely not something runners want to do if they can avoid it.
Especially knowing it's a crystal. Like, if it were a pendant, you could probably sell me on it just on the idea that I wouldn't have to go back.
Mm-hmm.
But as a crystal, it hurts.
Yeah, it's not like when it's hook shot. When it's the hook shot you're missing, there are bomb jumps you can do to get around the hook shot. There's nothing like that for the hammer, so far as I know.
No, absolutely not. You cannot get to the boss room without knocking down those little whack-a-mole looking things.
Yep, and Zora with just rupees, so nothing there.
So I guess for Buane, it's probably going to be the back of Thieves Town here. He skipped that earlier because he had no hammer, didn't really want to orphan that big chest, but now it's a bit too tempting to pass up. And then for Lin, I would be surprised if it was anywhere other than Aga after Hera.
I think between the two of them, there's just not. Yeah, Ice Palace is the only thing I can think of they haven't done.
Yep, I am racking my brain here trying to see if there's another one I missed, but I'm not, and chat's not calling anything out either for once. So
But unfortunately, for a little while, we're not going to see anything new, as we've seen both of these from the other runner.
yeah, it's gonna be a little while before we see new checks out of either one here. Even longer if they choose Aga over Ice Palace, because there are 0 checks to be made there, and it's just a straight execution check up the tower.
On the plus side, doing Aga with a tempered sword isn't so bad. You can get through a lot quicker.
Yeah, I don't believe Tempered Sword one-shot kills the Red Guards, but it's still
It is
2,
still
which is still a
faster,
lot
yeah.
better. Yeah. Tempered Sword is so great. Well, here's a second crystal for Lin.
It gives him that mushroom check as well, and he's got the red cane, so we'll see if he decides to do that fake powder.
Actually, that is an option for him. And if that gets him around the AGA requirement for that book, that would be incredible.
But first, we're going to check the basement.
Yeah, no real getting around that one. The risk in orphaning that at this stage is super high.
With so few checks left, yeah, absolutely.
Well, let's see where Buane's off to. Starting at Link's house.
This could be the Aga play, or it could be the Ice Palace play. It's one of the two.
Zaga.
Yep, he's going to go for that book.
Can't fault him at this point. We're pretty out of checks. I think he is actually out of checks besides Ice Palace. Like, he could go back and potion glitch pod for 2 items, but that doesn't open anything for him.
Yeah, he doesn't know that, but yeah. That's way out of the way for an out of logic check anyway.
Oh, chat's reminding me, Buane didn't show us Eastern Palace. That was only Lin.
Right, that's a good point. So this is a bit more of a gamble for him.
Yep. He's choosing this with about probably 7 checks left would be my estimate.
Lin, on the other hand, is going to go ahead and do some of these little one-off checks. Red mail, again, a nice thing to find, but not what he's looking for.
Yeah. But when you're only on, what is that, 9 hearts, you do it.
Yeah, we're past most of the main places where you'd want a death warp anyway, so it's not quite so bad. Plus, you have the mirror, so death warping just not really an issue anymore.
Yeah. But he's not going for the fake powder, because I somewhat doubt he would hard reset that red mail away at this point.
Oh, no.
So, although at this point also, to even get to the magic bat, it would be a bit of a walk. He'd have to go to the mirror, and he'd have to go to the dark world and mirror. He can't just hammer that from the light world.
Did not continue on to Zora, though.
Does have the money, but it's a long walk for one item, and if he decides it's not worth it, he is saving time.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't end up going back there later, he will save time from this. Because it looks like he's going to go ahead and do the Aga play as well.
I'm trying to think at this point. Yeah, walking from Witch's Hut has to be faster than running to that south portal from Link's house.
Mm-hmm. I would think so. Okay, our other guessing game. How many blue balls were we going to see? Anywhere from 0 to 15, I believe, are the numbers. We don't have any kind of official bot for this one, but go ahead and get your guesses in chat. And there's already one.
Yeah. While Buane deals with that, I'll just recap for chat a little bit. We are seeing both runners in Aghanim's Tower 50 minutes in, because we saw the Book of Medora on the Lumberjack Ledge, and both of these runners have decided it is very likely required, because between the two of them, the only checks we have not seen so far that they can reach is Ice Palace. And Ice Palace has no hammer. So that's sort of an iffy check.
So far we see 3 blue balls, and of course the way the Link to the Past randomizer works, Lin will see the same exact number of blue balls when he gets up here as well.
Yep. As long as he doesn't miss any of those fireball hits on Aghanim's body, they'll have the exact same RNG. Same concept applies to Ganon's warps in Phase 3 as well, and his placements in the first few phases.
And he's gonna go straight over to that book.
Not really anywhere else to go at this point if you're making that play. We've already seen everything on the east side of the Dark World.
I think what I do at this point is I grab the book, head over to the Dark World to check Bombo's tablet on my way to Desert. Unfortunately, that leaves the Ether tablet, but going up just for the Ether tablet is that's quite a ways out of the way.
Yeah, and if the next progression is the hammer, you get to east side of Death Mountain by using the mirror and the hammer, and you walk right by the Ether tablet to do that. So it's not bad at all. So, Buane not saving and quitting. So, wonder where he's going with that book.
Maybe
Is he just taking the long walk?
Perhaps. Or maybe he's gonna go check Ped right away. They did already have one Ped seed.
No, this is his only Dark World portal. He can't use the Light Cave one, so he's got to take the long walk.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
He wants Bombo's tablet.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. So easy to forget when it's that hammer that you're missing. We're 52 minutes in, still no hammer.
Yeah, and hammer blocks, I think, the most locations of any single item in the game. So.
Yeah, it's either the hammer or the mitts, but I think you may be right.
Yeah, between those two, it's certainly the hammer.
Okay, Lin finishing up with Aga.
Yep, probably going to just see him continue following Buane's route here pretty much as is. And the time difference between them at this point for their Aga kills is less than the time it took for Lin to check all of Eastern, so that's definitely a thing. Although he'll lose a little bit of that time again, assuming Buane's first trip into Eastern has a bow, because he'll have to walk all the way through that dungeon when he goes back to clear it.
Yeah, but if Buane is able to go mode Eastern, he will save a little bit of time since that big key, I believe, was in the first chest. Although Eastern, not the greatest of go mode dungeons. Being able to skip the big key chest is nice, but that's your biggest time save there.
Yeah, you also get to skip that one chest off to the right, but like you said, that's pretty small potatoes by comparison.
Okay, Desert, we can full clear this. Let's see what we got here.
First chest, let's see.
Small key, gonna go over to the right side. And there's all our money.
Yeah, it doesn't do us much good at this point. We've already
Nope.
spent pretty much all the money we need to this seed. But there are 4 items to be found in the desert. We've only seen one of them so far. And since we've seen both keys, the torch, the big chest, and landmolas are all going to have stuff. Of course, no promises that stuff is actually useful.
Okay, so Lin skipped over the Bombos tablet, just gonna go straight to Desert. Could turn out to be a good play if he never checks it later.
You'll probably check it with Swamp, which will save him a bit of time.
Yep.
But now we're down to Landmola's Ether Tablet and the old Ice Palace. Of course, even if Landmola's isn't the answer, it is a crystal. And if it is the flute or something that will eventually block the flute, then we did absolutely 100% have to kill Aghanim.
Mm-hmm.
So chat's asking what we're missing. Just to clarify, we don't actually know for sure what we're missing at this point. Like, we know we need bow and hammer. But beyond that, I think everything is pretty up in the air still, depending on where the last 2 pendants fall.
By logic, we are missing a hook shot. Lin has shown us a little bit of hover skill, so that may be optional for him if... oh, no, because looks like Swamp House is a pendant, so... and of course, we will need some medallions, but they might both be, if Mire or Turtle Rock is a crystal, then they might be both bombos, so we may not need those medallions.
Yeah. Like
and
I said, the hammer and the bow are the only 2 we hard know we need for sure at this point.
Right.
And then the hook shot if you can't hover the mold worm, which Lin has shown he's able to, and I cannot remember whether Buane can, but he has not shown it.
And most likely, we are going to need that fire rod. We don't yet know whether Skullwoods and Turtle Rock are going to be crystals or pendants. Since we only know one pendant. But unless both are pendants, we will need the fire rod.
Right. And it's the same story with Mire and Turtle Rock and medallions.
Yep. So I see some talk about bow being sequence broken with the Mimic Clip. Yes, the Mimic Clip is a thing that can be done against Tower. However, to get to Helmasaur and to get to Ice Armos, you do need the bow. In the case of Helmasaur, you have the statue that you have to shoot with the bow, and in the case of Armos Knights, you have the Igors that you need to shoot with the bow. And Lynn, go ahead and using that Ice Rod to good use. Finishing
Casual
up.
strats. I'm a fan. Unfortunately, it's only a small shield.
So, Ether Tablet or Ice Palace? Where are you getting next?
If I'm playing casually, I go to Ether Tablet 100% of the time. If I'm racing, that's a lot harder of a call.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with that, well, you have the save quit spot, so it's basically the same as fluting, but
yeah.
Lynn gonna do his Agena check. We know there's nothing of use here.
Actually, the chat raises a good point. If it's not Ether Tablet, then Aghanim wasn't the answer.
It was not.
So there is a strong argument to be made just to go straight to the Ether Tablet and push that as a gamble.
And that's what Lynn's gonna do.
And just to recap for chat a bit, Lynn went into Eastern Palace as well. Buane did not go into Eastern, which is a large part of the reason that he finished Aghanim's Tower and got into the desert first. But Lynn has been into Eastern, and he has also been to the first chest of Swamp Palace.
Okay, Ether Tablet, what do you have for us? A bow! Okay, we got some progression going on.
Yep. Of course, that is one item of progression at this point. That's the Armos Knights. That's it.
It also allows us to finish Pod.
No, it doesn't. No hammer.
No hammer. Never mind. Hammer hard required to get to the back there.
Yep. And Lynn's sequence broke the bow in Pod, so there aren't even any new checks for him there.
Not for him.
So basically, unless Armos drops like a hammer or a flute, then I would go so far as to say that was logically potentially our silver arrows instead of our bow.
It could be, because Ice Palace could have that bow.
Yeah, but until we see what Aga drops, we can't say anything. Or not Aga. Until we see what Armos Knights drop, we can't say anything definitively on this.
So yeah, hour in, and we still don't have a hammer. That's definitely feels bad.
Hour in, we've killed Aghanim, and we don't even know if it was required.
And of course, this being, we have not seen whether Eastern's a pendant or a crystal, so we don't even know what we're getting here.
We know it's not going to be a green pendant, and we know it's not going to be a 5/6 crystal, so it's not going to open up anything in the way of Sahasrara or Super Bomb. So Lynn's making his way back to the back of Eastern Palace. Anybody who's seen Vanilla Speedrun has definitely seen these set of rooms more than a few times. He's way over-equipped for it, but the over-equipment doesn't actually help much here. He's using the exact same strats because the bow is the primary weapon here, and it still takes 2 shots to kill those red Igors.
He's going to go for the quick kill here. Maybe got a little bit out of alignment with hitting one of those Armos Knights. doesn't quite get it. And oh my god, just a shield?
Aga wasn't
Wow.
the answer.
Not
We had 2 runners kill
required.
Aga, and it wasn't even required.
I mean, you can't blame them. The other option being hammerless Ice Palace, but oh boy.
Well, hey, guess what we're gonna do now?
And just to add insult to injury, that was a pendant at Eastern Palace.
Okay, you know what? Let's just get the flute out of Ice Palace, go to Misery Mire, get a blue pendant out of there, and pull the hammer off the ped.
There you go. I was just about to ask, do you check ped at this point?
It looks like that's what Lynn's doing. Oh no, never mind. He's just using this portal like a very smart person. And I completely forgot about it after I saw him use it in his race yesterday.
It's not the most commonly used portal. Of course, it is one of the portals used in NMG with the flake flippers from Desert to Tower of Hera, but we don't see it that often in Randomizer.
Yeah, chat's graciously reminding me that our third pendant is Swamp, so no hammer on ped at least.
No hammer on ped.
We're still gonna pull a flute out of here to get it out of Mire or something equally silly though.
But assuming that Turtle Rock is that if the third pendant were Misery Mire, it could be a Fire Rod, which would be quite a bit of irony considering it was the Ice Rod that was on the pedestal in their game 1.
Yeah, irony is a word. It's definitely, there are many words, and irony is one of them. We do somewhat have Buane back. Given where he is, I would think it fairly obvious he cleared the desert. Probably the ether tablet as well.
Yeah, it'd be
probably
my guess.
On his way to ped. Yeah.
Actually, I'm going to take something back we said about that book on... Aga still might have been required depending on where that second bow is.
Okay, yes, that's correct. If the second bow is in GT, then yeah.
But we, again, don't know. As we said earlier, we're an hour and 5 in and we don't know whether that was required yet. So
we may literally not know until Ganon.
Yeah, that's a good point. He may, if he doesn't say it's in his tower.
Or if Helmasaur King specifically drops it, that's the other alternative.
That's the other one.
Also, I guess chat's also saying a theoretical pendant Mire with Flute and Ganon's Tower would be equivalent, just for book for desert access, but I don't know. I'm not putting much stake in that. And there's a second bow.
Okay, so yeah, not required. Silvers will be nice. I'm sure the runners will be happy to have that. But if they're thinking that their opponent maybe went to Ice Palace instead of Aga, they're like, they're not going to be real happy about that.
Yeah, I would be shocked if either runner were happy to see that bow.
And there it is. Oh my god.
Okay.
That is a stacked Ice Palace.
Yep. And Lynn's actually turning around. Looks like he's going to check the right side, just make sure to leave no items behind.
I think in a map compass, I think that's the right thing to do. If this were a regular seed, I would probably just keep on going and hope that item was maybe in either Iced Tea or at Cold Stare. But being this is map compass, we have a couple extra items here.
Yep, that's going to be a total of 5 when it's all said and done. That's the same value as Palace of Darkness in an ordinary seed. But yeah, at this point, we may literally never know whether this seed was truly Aga required if it turns out to be Pendant Mire.
I would say it's not, because they could have gone and gotten that bow.
Well, no, the book would be for desert access in that case.
Oh, gotcha. Gotcha. That's a really good point.
It's basically until we find the flute or we see Crystal Mire, we can't confirm. Also, Lin didn't, I don't think, expect to full clear the dungeon, so he didn't bomb jump, so he's got to take the walker around. He's got cane, so it's not nearly as bad as it could otherwise be, but it happens.
Yeah, it is. If this does turn out, I haven't paid attention to the keys. I think maybe he's gotten 2 of them, not sure. If this does turn out to be a cane-locked Ice Palace, having the cane is certainly going to help him a lot. But it is possible, if you use your keys correctly, to get around that. But, you know, he had to use that key to get to the hookshot side, so that's not going to work for him. So having that cane in Samario is going to be very useful here.
Typically, you would just get around that cane lock with the bomb jump, but again, you see the pegs.
On the plus side, since you did want to check the iced tea room, that's a little quicker check when you don't have to go fall down and come back up.
Yeah, that's probably the only advantage to not bomb jumping Ice Palace when you've got a cane. Let's see what Cold Stare drops. I believe we've seen all the keys, so...
Very nicely done.
Yep, they did slide out of the corner, but got them all down still in quick order. So I guess if you're Lin, do you go to Palace of Darkness for that one item in Crystal next?
You don't have a flute, so yeah, I think I do. You don't know for sure you're going to get a flute. Might as well just swim on over there.
We saw Skullwoods on that map check. I think I saw a crystal, but I was not ready for that and did not.
No, I wasn't either.
Although chat's correct, I think the play in this case would typically be Pyramid Fairy to Palace of Darkness. Just combine those checks, but guess not quite so for Lin. He's just running straight north. And yeah, our tracker... Sorry?
At this point, we need a fire rod for sure, and Lin, I suspect, will not go out of his way for a hook shot, having already showed us that he can do some hovering. So if he gets fire rod here, then that's all he needs.
We don't know if it's
Mire or Turtle Rock. We don't know if it's Mire or Turtle Rock, but it does get him into Turtle Rock. It does allow him to do Skullwoods. And I could see gambling on it being Turtle Rock at this point. Because if it is, and it's your last dungeon you do, then you're good to go.
Good to go pending medallions.
Yep.
Regardless, I'd like to give a shout out to our tracker, iBot, for nailing that Skullwoods map check for us, and to chat for confirming it for us as well. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, the trackers do all the hard work behind the scenes. Couldn't do this without them.
Also, I guess we can get to the east side of Death Mountain with that hammer. It's been so long since I last thought about it that the thought didn't even occur to me.
That is true.
But that's a lot of items.
As you can see, silver is being much more powerful here.
Yeah, silvers kill everything not named Vitreous or Ganon in one hit. As long as it does damage, at least. If arrows don't work, then silvers don't work either. Lynn's compass tracker only shows 12 checks. Did he skip the harmless hellway knowing it was a small key? Considering he has 0, I think that must have been it.
Yeah, that would be my guess as well.
Yeah, because once you get enough checks in pod, you can puzzle out whether that specific room is a small key traded for another small key.
Yep. And the same thing with the big key chest, if that had been a place he had skipped.
Yeah, although that one's a lot more frequently checked early because it is
Yep.
in the front of the dungeon.
Yep.
So, what's the Helmosaur King got for us? Anything of note?
Nope.
So our next play is going to be the east side of the mountain. I think there's a couple one-offs we could do, but that would be the density play for sure.
Yeah, you mentioned the Pyramid Fairy before. We also have Hammer Pegs to check. Not a whole lot else.
When you've already done Palace of Darkness, the Pyramid Fairy is practically a one-off unless you want to go to Swamp and do that before you go.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree. I think the mountain is the play right now. Even if it turns out you can't get into Turtle Rock right now, there's 4 items in Hookshot Cave if you can cover it, and I suspect he'll try to do that. You have the 2 in Super Bunny. You have Spike Cave. Yeah, all this. We haven't even seen like Paradox Cave, and so that's another 7 items right there. Spiral Cave, another item. I've lost track. There's a lot. There's a lot over there.
There are 12 in logic on the east side right now between Light and Dark World. 3 more reachable in the Hookshot Cave if Linlinlin does the thing. And then potentially several more in Turtle Rock depending on how keys lay out. And then Spike Cave in addition on the west side.
Yeah, and of course if it's Bombos.
Yeah. So first item we'll actually see here is the floating island. It's nothing.
Spiral Cave with the boots is so much nicer than without.
Yep. No need to start snoozing for that one. And we are seeing all of the Light World side first, even though we've got the mirror here, just because Spiral Cave down, then Paradox Cave back up to the Turtle Rock portal is the way to go.
Yeah, the game's making us wait for the big find. There's got to be something up. I mean, there doesn't have to be something up here, but there has to be something up here.
Yeah, unless you want to go back to visit all those one-offs.
Well, there's all our money at least. Not that we need it at this point. Oh, there we go. There's a fire rod.
Yeah, there's some progression finally.
And a quick
There's a medallion. So 2
now
and
2
3
out of
chance
3.
we can full clear. Yep.
And we're gonna see another hover from Lynn. Much easier than the one he tried for before.
Yeah. The one in Palace of Darkness is super precise. The rest are just, can you go the distance?
Yep. And by easier, I'm considering I can't even begin to hover. They're all hard.
I believe the first rule of doing that is you've got to be playing on actual console.
Oh, God.
Great.
Wow. That is an ether, and we don't have ether.
Yep.
Because of course.
Still 3 checks to find it under the mat here.
And we still might not even need to go into Turtle Rock, so.
Yeah, it could still be the last pendant. Also, chat knows full well why we have the Bombos medallion. We found the hammer and ice, which blocked the fire rod on the mountain. So, hope you like fire rod and ice palace memes, because this is basically just an extended one.
So this first check that he's going to do is completely in logic with the boots, but useless. Here we go.
Let's see if he sticks with it, yeah. He abandoned a couple others after just one attempt, but this one's too many items for him to pass up. Just walks across that black floor like it's absolutely nothing.
Well, and to your point, the other one he tried to do, he had another way of getting over there anyway.
I'm trying to remember. There was one he tried early on and just abandoned after one try. I cannot remember what it was, but it was long before Pod.
So nothing in hookshot. We're going to see a spike cave check.
And then after that, take the fire rod to Skull Woods would be my guess.
Yeah, I would think so. You can get a ped check in while you're there if you want. Oh yeah, chat bringing up a good point. There's still that Dewstown big chest that we abandoned way back at the beginning.
Yeah. And if they go to Skull Woods, that's actually the most easily accessible one-shot location for them at this point, because they're going to be fairly close to it. And then they can go to the Hammer Pegs right after that. Lin is walking somewhere. Oh, he's taking this walk up to Kakariko. You see the reverse of this in NMG.
You don't see this very often in a randomizer seed in either direction.
No, and the primary reason you don't is because the typical NMG speedrun is a no save and quit category. Meanwhile, in Randomizer, if you don't have the flute, you just save and quit to Sank or Link's house, depending on where you want to go.
Now, they did both check the front of Skullwoods, so we're only getting the 2 locations in the back. I do not know for sure how many items are left at this point.
I think we saw 2 keys and 2 items. Well, 2 keys, a big key, and 2 items, which I think would leave 1 key and 1 item. Key under the bridge, item on Moth. Of course, if I'm misremembering the counts, then Lin will fairly quickly correct us by checking that bridge chest.
Even if that were the case, going back and doing Mothula first makes a lot more sense.
If absolutely nothing else, it saves a menu, assuming he wants to check pet afterwards, because he can just menu to mirror to get out from under the bridge. Kills the Gibda, realizes he doesn't need the key, just falling down into the fight. Tempered Sword means 4 clean hits is all he's going to need. Emphasis on clean. There we go. Knocking Mothula into the spikes does 0 damage, as pretty much anybody who plays this game more than a couple times becomes painfully aware of. And he's going back in for the bridge, so I appear to have miscounted keys in the front, or just misremembered. Either works.
Well, we will find out in a second. And it is just a container heart there, so yeah.
Okay. So we've got the one-off locations. Hammer Pegs, Thieves Town Chest.
Just couch cash.
He is skipping those one-offs. Is it going to be Pyramid Fairy next for him? Or is he just going to go full-on Swamp Palace for the front of it without the hook shot?
Could do that. Let's see. If he's going to go Dark World here, and then we'll see whether he goes up or down.
Yeah. This portal take says absolutely nothing about where he wants to go, because he'd be doing it either way. And it's going to be the Pyramid Fairy first.
Yeah, I think this makes sense. He's already checked that first chest in Swamp. So there's one less item in there, and without the hook shot, there's several he can't get.
Yeah, but the big thing about Swamp Palace and Map Compass Shuffle is that outside of that very first guaranteed key chest, it's 100% entirely items.
Okay, that was cool. I've seen the bomb dupe. I've never seen it done in this manner.
Yeah, doing it with the mirror like that, if I recall correctly, is also how you do it to get around a aggro requirement for Hammer and Pyramid Fairy.
Nice.
But that's a really obscure piece of tech that rarely comes up.
And there's our flute.
Yeah.
So I think we go to Meyer next.
I would believe it, yeah.
First we go to town to activate the flute, but then it's Meyer all the way.
Right. 2 out of 3 chance we can enter it. 50-50 chance it's our 7th crystal. Really no reason not to. But it does confirm we killed Aghanim for absolutely nothing.
The good news, both of the runners killed Aghanim for absolutely nothing, so neither one is going to get an advantage for it.
Both runners killed Aghanim.
Yep.
And we had to sit through it and watch them not make checks. And yes, to clarify for chat, Lin is absolutely in a position of not needing the hook shot to clear the game, because Swamp Palace is a pendant dungeon, and he has shown a propensity to just walk over gaps with the boots, a technique commonly known as hovering.
And it is Quake, so we can get in here.
50-50 chance we're in go mode.
So if he gets an early big key, do you just go to the back and finish it off and hope you get a crystal?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's the play.
Like, absolutely do that. And then if you realize afterwards it was a pendant and you still need ether, you can come back in and make the checks.
Exactly.
Really clean Meyer 2 room there from Lin until his last sword beam went into the Bimo statue. But even with that, still really clean.
Yeah, absolutely.
For my money, that's the most impressive room in the game to see done optimally. It's just very difficult.
Okay, one more shot at the so-called Godmire. Although I wonder if that had been the big key, if Lin would have just hovered over.
I'm sure he would have given it at least one shot, just from what he's shown so far this seed in this series. He thought about it too.
Yeah, I mean, he could have just mirrored out of there and just gone ahead and...
Yeah, Lynn, buddy, your key was small there, I'm afraid.
Yeah, so the option here, he could have mirrored right out, checked the map, and seen right then and there whether this was a crystal or a pendant, because he has the Turtle Rock map now, and he could have checked. And if the Turtle Rock map shows a crystal, then he doesn't need to finish this. But this is probably better, because if Turtle Rock does turn out to be the crystal, we might find that ether medallion here. So he's just going to keep on going, I think.
Yeah, regardless of what Turtle Rock is, clearing this dungeon at least until you find the big key is the correct play here. Because if Myers the crystal, then you find the big key, you go to Viddy, you have a party. If Turtle Rock's the crystal, like you said, still need to find ether. Why not look in Meyer for it?
Okay, gonna do the cutscene last, it looks like. That's pretty typical. No
Yeah, the
need to sit
cutscene's
through that if
something
you don't
like
have to.
something like 19 seconds of time loss. One of my favorite things about that cutscene is that it is the same length as the one in the Desert Palace. We're not going to see Dark Mire rooms here, which is a little unfortunate. There are like 3 or 4 different strats for this room, and I like seeing what runners choose between them.
Yeah, and that first room is a really difficult one. And one of the things that I never realized until I started trying to learn that room myself is that when you hold that sword out, those beams just keep on coming, making it just that much harder to do it.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it makes it more difficult per se, but it does make it lag a lot. Lynn had the spooky glitch there. We saw him hit the torch with the fire rod and it hit the crystal switch way up above it. But looks like he lost it at some point. It wasn't working on hitting those anti-fairies there. I'm not intimately familiar with the details of spooky. Like, I know it works by manipulating the altitude variable of the fire rod. Like you just saw there, he hit the torch and the fire rod actually hit the crystal switch. But I'm not sure the details of the setups or how you lose it or why it didn't work for Lynn off those anti-fairies.
Interestingly, he's choosing to use the cane here instead of using silver arrows.
He's only got 10 arrows.
That would be why.
I think there's 11 small eyes if I counted correctly, and you need 2 more for the big eye.
And it's a pendant. But good news, we got the item, so we don't have to come back in here.
Yep, now we can just go out, check the Meyer shed and the checkerboard cave, see if ether is there. If it turns out to be on powder, Lane can feel really bad about not having done the fake powder way back when.
And he can check Hammer Pigs while he's there, so.
Yep, and he can check Thieves Town Big Chest while he's there.
Okay, not the shed.
Still the checkerboard cave, not totally dead yet.
And not the checkerboard cave.
Yeah. So we killed Aga for double nothing. Yeah, oh well. It will be fine. Looks like Lin is choosing Swamp over the alternatives here. That is still 3 items for him, since he already got 1 out of the first chest.
And unless he finds the hook shot in here, he will not be able to go further, because hovering does not work in Swamp.
Nope. Cannot jump that ledge. Oh, he skipped Bombo's tablet earlier, so this is an extra item in the area for him. And I guess he might not go into Swamp after this if he mirrors to his flute instead of walking back. Yeah, but now he's walking back and it's going to be Swamp for him. Oh, 3 very slow items.
But at least with Map Compass, they are items.
They could still be maps or compasses.
They could still be maps or compasses. They could all be maps or compasses. But it's not the guaranteed of there has to be a swamp map and a swamp compass in here. So it makes it a little bit better.
Right. And I haven't been keeping track of what maps and compasses we still haven't found, so I have no idea if there are even 3 left to find.
Yeah, neither have I. And frankly, if you're Lin, you're probably happier not finding the hook shot. So you don't have to worry about going to the rest of the dungeon.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, there is the counter argument that the hookshot could be in one of those one-off places that makes you come back here, so...
Yeah, and if you don't find Ether, you're gonna be feeling not having hookshot and having to leave those items in the back behind. Alright, well, here we go. Just gonna sit through a bit of a flood. And chat's asking about the Misery Mire cutscene chest. It was already called out, but the only way a small key can be fire-locked in Misery Mire is if the big key is also fire-locked. So there has to be a big key for there to be a small key. It cannot be a small key alone. And that means that cutscene chest that Lin skipped can be literally anything we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. We saw 2 items in Mire, and that's the normal number of items in Mire. But we did not see a couple of the chests checked there. Oh, there's a hook shot.
Nice.
Nice vanilla hook shot.
You hate to see that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, actually what? Regardless, it means we're not seeing the left side yet. But we might still see it if Ether's not in the back here.
Yeah, finding the hook shot, I think, would send me to the back here as well.
Oh yeah, when you're just looking for one item and this is a pendant dungeon, absolutely. You take the faster checks over the slower ones every time.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, we almost got a menu on Buane and would be able to confirm what he did and didn't do. But he is on Paradox Cave, it looks like. Can't tell if he's checking that or just climbing. But just... Chat's been asking about it the whole time, so I'll just go ahead and say we have absolutely no control. These issues are on his side, so we're just focusing on the guy who's actually visibly playing the game for us.
And I will point out that check we're seeing is from quite a bit time ago, so
yeah,
hard to say exactly what's going on.
His timer is almost 15 minutes behind Lin's. There it is. Argus fight here. Pull puff, slash puff, easy game, easy life, until you miss your pulls. And
And
now,
we do have a
do we
green
see
pendant turn
Lin
in.
go back in? Yeah. That's a turn in that Lin lost a lot of time yesterday by not doing immediately because that was vanilla boots. But today, probably see him go back in first, get the left side items, yeah.
Yeah,
And then
I
we'll
think
see where
so.
he goes from there. Also, chat saying one item. This is map compass shuffle. It's 2 items. There are no guaranteed maps or compasses in dungeons in this mode. And then if we assume that it's not here, where does Ling go next? There's a few options of varying degrees of not terrible.
We have the green pendant turn in, we have Thieves Town Big Chest, we have Hammer Pegs, we have Magic Bat, and there's also going back into Mire, since we did only see 2 items in there.
There's also going up into Hookshot Cave and seeing if the key really is under the mat.
We saw all of Hookshot Cave.
So chat is calling out that at the time they killed Aghanim before Buane's stream started freezing, that he was about a minute ahead. The big thing to keep in mind is that the primary thing putting Buane ahead there was that Lin had already cleared all of Eastern Palace except the Armos Knights. Buane would get back a significant chunk of that time just by going into Eastern Palace with a bow. Also, chat's reminding me Lin did the thing in Hookshot Cave, so that's not actually on the table. I forgot. Shame on me.
We're an hour 40 in and we're not in go mode. It happens.
Yep, and even if we hit go mode right here, we've still got a Turtle Rock and a Ganon's Tower, and neither of those are fast, even in go mode.
They are not.
And it's not here.
Swamp not the answer unless that green pendant is something.
Yep. It's gonna feel really bad if we cleared all 3 pendants for nothing on top of killing Aga for nothing.
Yeah, this is officially an oops all dungeon seed. In every sense of the term.
It's okay. Buane's going to have the AD world record soon.
Here you go.
Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be this seed for him.
No.
Immediate turn in on the pendant for Lin. Maybe this is it. Just save us already.
Oh,
there it is.
My god. There is that ether. Wow.
Hour, 41 minutes, and 30 seconds. Lin is in go mode finally.
And while we didn't get the 2 in a row ped seed, we did get the 2 in a row green pendant seed. So
yeah, I don't think those boots last seed were actually required. I can't remember.
That may not be. Yeah, I believe you're correct, but they certainly are nice to have.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, green pendant was still required that seed 4 ped regardless. But hey, we've got Buane and his timer is actually on sync, so he's in Swamp.
And I'm noticing a gold sword, so he's done some checks that Lin has not.
If we can get a menu from him, we can see how many pendants crystals he has, what other items he has. The only thing we know for sure is that he doesn't have ether yet, and he is not far from getting his hook shot. Okay, that looked like Buane had pretty much everything but ether and the magic cave, but I didn't catch his crystal pendants. Chat saying that he is pretty much last locationing ether, which would give him everything except Swamp Palace and Turtle Rock as crystal pendant clears.
Yeah, it seems like the most likely thing.
Also, shout outs again to our tracker, iBot, for getting Buane's tracker back up in order after the technical difficulties on Buane's end. Just having to click all the buttons at once. Speed Gaming Tracker is notorious for eating inputs, so having to deal with that as well.
And tracking, having done it for Super Metroid, where it's a lot easier than it is for Link to the Past, it's hard. It is a hard job, and we really appreciate the extra help. And this seed in particular being even harder.
Yeah. Having to click like 10, 12 buttons at once on that tracker is never going to end well. Regardless, this does show at this point, I'm not going to say it's decisive by any means, but Lin is cleanly ahead at this point, being already in Turtle Rock where Buane doesn't have his ether yet. And it's probably on the order of, what, 4 or 5 minutes?
Yeah, I'd say so. And unfortunately, that gold sword that Buane managed to pick up wherever, not going to really make a huge difference here.
Yeah, it can save him a few seconds against Trinex if he does that fight optimally. It can make the Ganon fight a joke, but it's not going to save time over optimal execution with the Tempered.
Yep. My guess is he probably did one of those other checks, the Hammer Pegs, or the Magic Bat, or the Thieves' Town Big Chest, or possibly all 3 of them.
Yeah, I would expect that he did most of those checks at this point, if not all of them.
One of the few nice things about a Go Mode Turtle Rock, it's not a great Go Mode dungeon, but you do get to skip that lava chest as long as it's not the big key. And we did already see the big key.
Yep, that's pretty nice. But the only other things that you can confidently and reasonably skip are the Mimic Cave and the Laser Bridge, depending on where the small key on Laser Bridge is, if it has one. Lin is opting to skip the big chest, which is also an option, but there are cases where it will have a small key inside it, and that will backfire, and he would be forced to go back for it.
Yeah, it's a pretty rare case. I believe I've seen it happen twice, but it can happen.
Yeah, he's got a key in his pocket. It's basically, if there's a key on Laser Bridge, he's safe, but if there's not, he's got to go back.
Okay, let's see what's on Laser Bridge.
Yeah. As a note for viewers, we've got a Cane of Burna, which is great. But as of V31 of the randomizer, which is the latest version, if you're using the advanced item placement settings, you can be expected to walk past these lasers without an invincibility item or a mirror shield, which is exactly what Lin's doing now. It's a pretty common speedrun tactic to be able to do this, just because invincibility items are slow, but Randomizer has made it logic after years.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. You've got a safety door right there. If you're bad at it, you still have you're not going to be taken very far away if you do die on it. So, and most of the time you do have one of those items or the mirror shield anyway.
Yeah, and if you decide you're bad and not comfortable doing that, there is an alternative item placement fill that makes that, among other things, not actually in logic. The tournament is using the advanced fill, so that will be in logic for the tournament, as Buane enters Go Mode at an hour 47 and 51.
Now let's see that last crystal. As soon as we make short work of Trinex.
Yep. That will be 7 crystals. That will be a short walk over to Ganon's tower for Lin, where he will be searching among the 22 checks in the basement to find the big key of Ganon's tower so he can climb. Does not get his hook speed there on those stairs. Doesn't matter very much because he can just run anyways. And yeah, Buane is entering Turtle Rock not that long after Lin exits. So I think that does come out to about a 5-minute difference.
Yeah, a Turtle Rock behind, which is, yeah, it's not a short dungeon.
No, very linear, very slow between the Samaria rides and those pipes. And you can't do anything but sit through it.
Okay, gonna start out on the right side.
Yep. So,
Number 1. And a small key to go with it. We are on our way. You know,
that's called the God Tower.
That is called the Seed owed them one.
And shoutouts to Kimmy Kimka, who was the first person to guess 1. And yeah, as far as the race itself goes, that cuts out pretty much any way for Buane to catch up that isn't rooted in errors on Lin's part. And I would not bet on those if I were you, because Lin is very good at video games, as he's demonstrating.
And falling down just to get those iframes so you can dash right across that bridge there.
Yep, pretty nice strat. Now we're seeing the fire rod come out in the gauntlet. It kills these stalkids with no long burning animation, which is always nice, but when he shoots these horse heads, if he shoots these horse heads, they will burn for a few seconds, and that's slow and nobody likes that.
Especially not this late in.
Yep, Tempered Sword will kill them in 1 hit. That's faster, that's more fun. And then Silver Arrows continuing to demonstrate that they kill everything not named Ganon and Vitreous in 1 hit. 3 arrows, 3 land molas. Easy game.
So to answer the question in chat, no, Game 3 is not going to be tonight, and I suspect even if it was, I'm not sure they'd want to play it, so...
I do know of at least 1 instance of this race where the last race in a series was delayed because of things like this.
Yep. I believe I know the race you're talking about. But Lynn's got to go ahead and finish this out.
Yep, he is up to the top of the tower. He's got to collect this key off the Helmosaurs, and then he's going to be off to Mold Room 2 in a couple rooms. He's not checking any chests here because, let's be honest, what would he actually find that would help him? Gold Sword wouldn't really help him. Cape wouldn't really help him. Can't say he needs any more hearts on Red Mail, and what is that, 16?
16, yeah. He's fine.
He is well set. So, yeah. Fun fact, checking chests is slow. And here's Agatu. Only the main solid body of Aghanim can shoot the blue balls in this fight, so you're guaranteed at least 2 opportunities to actually damage him. He still only takes 6 hits, but the way they line up, yeah, getting triples is not easy. Getting doubles is not easy when the blue balls show up.
With those 2202, so pretty well done. That third one being a little trolly.
Yeah, 4 cycles is solid. 3 cycles is great, and I think what most runners would love to have every run.
Yep.
2 cycles is like, RNG
Amazing.
loves you, go finish already.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then anything more than 4, you probably got really bad patterns.
Or you're just bad at the game like I am. Okay, let's go. Let's get that Ganon.
Yep, so Ganon, 12 slashes while he's spinning the trident at you, which spins count double. And then he'll have to do 12 more once the fire bats start, but we are not there yet. Meanwhile, Buane got his Trinex Crystal. He's in Ganon's tower. He is going to the left.
He's going the wrong way. Oh, that's... hope he's
Probably
doing the
what he'll... Yeah, I'm pretty confident that's what he'll do here. He'll just get the 4 chests in the Stalfos room, take those to the right side.
Yep.
Which
that
means he won't lose a huge
well.
amount of time. Yeah. But still losing time here. Nice double there.
And the one thing Aga did get for us was we did get those silver arrows because of Aghanim.
Yeah, that's a thing. They save some time.
It's a consolation prize.
Yeah, not 5 minutes of save for sure. Anyways,
No,
that's
for
Ganon
sure.
down for Lin. Get your GGs in chat. He crosses the 3x1 bridge. And that is Linlinlin finishing in first place with a time of 1 hour, 56 minutes, and 1 second to tie the series.
So we will get a game 3, and that should be a really good one.
There are many words. Good is also one of them. Yeah, but seriously, the races themselves have been really good so far, even if the
Yes,
seeds
they
haven't
have.
been. And we are joined by the winner, Lin. GG, congratulations. Did you have fun with this dumpster fire?
No.
How you feeling about Map Compass now?
It's not really the map. I mean, yes, it was, because after I was done with Pod and Eastern, like if it was regular open, like Desert doesn't look very appealing with 2 items, but with 4, it looks a bit better. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm against
I
Buane,
mean-
and I want like my execution is, I won't say as good as his, so yeah, I tried to make a play even though that Bombos was in a very, very awkward spot.
A lot of things
but it
were in
wasn't
awkward
logic.
spots today.
But it wasn't logic. But it was in an awkward spot. But I tried to do something, and that's even though you have to do Aga, was actually looking.
Yeah. So about that Aga play, we're actually pretty certain the Aga play got you silver arrows, but it looks like you actually didn't need it.
It wasn't salty. I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't salty. checking that chest in night and like, hey, you know that book you got and you got a bow and you thought
Yep.
it was rewarding? Nope.
I mean, you
If
both
it-
at the time had the choice of Ice Palace without Hammer, or go to Aga to get that book. That's a pretty crappy set of choices.
Like, even with 5 item in ice, you have half of them almost locked behind hammer. So,
Yep.
like, you have a guaranteed 4 items in desert and up to 4 items, if you're lucky, in ice.
Mhm.
Yeah,
that was,
numerically, I agree that Aga was
Oh
probably
yeah, for
the
sure.
reasonable play. That's why you both wound up making it. But hey, if it makes you feel better, you completed one more dungeon than you did yesterday, and you were only 10 minutes slower. Even though I think Aga Tower is insultingly slow.
It's like we yesterday's scene was, I liked the read I could do on that, but this one was just dumpster fire.
It really was.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with that. Because yesterday's seed, you had to do it all, but it ultimately wasn't that bad. It flowed. This
Yeah.
seed didn't flow.
No, it really didn't. I mean, the Eastern Palace didn't get anything out of that. Meyer, what did they get out of Meyer? Did they get anything out of Meyer? I don't think so.
No, okay.
Knowledge that they had to clear Turtle Rock.
Knowledge they had to clear
Exactly.
Turtle Rock
Exactly. You had to go to Meyer
to get the
know.
Turtle Rock map.
exactly to know that you had to clear Turtle Rock. That's your last crystal.
How tempting was it to mirror out when you saw that Turtle Rock map?
Not really, because I
Okay.
didn't have either.
Okay, that's
I
fair.
thought
Yeah,
about it,
Yeah,
but
that-
I was like, I don't have ether anyways, so might.
Yeah,
as well
we were speculating
clear the
that, but
dungeons.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, on Buane's side, he does have Ganon's tower down. He's about to drop into Ganon. He's got a gold sword. So
This
Where was
will be
that?
very quick. We don't know because
Oh, yeah,
he
true.
was having some internet issues, and we're speculating that he probably did some of the one-off checks you skipped, such as the hammer pegs, the magic bat, the mad bat, and the Thieves Town big chest.
I never checked
one or all
Sora
of
because I
those.
never had the money, and I at this point I'm just not going back.
Yeah, he did check Zora. I think it was just a 20 if I remember correctly. So
Okay.
yeah, you weren't
Yeah.
you weren't skipping anything there.
you both did pass up on a 300 in the library once you got boots out of Skullwoods. That made me sad. Even if the archery game made me less sad.
I totally forgot about that 300. To be fair.
Yeah.
I was like,
It happens. It's not progression, so you had no reason to strongly
Right.
keep it in mind. So Buane's got 2 silvers in. That actually counted, and he set up here. Did not get a double because Ganon bounced into the torch, and there's 4 arrows.
That was really nice.
Buane's been really good all series at getting like Ganon just to stay in one of the corner for 3 or 4 arrows. He did the exact same thing last game, and it was impressive there too. And that is Buane throwing a party in the Triforce room at 2 hours, 1 minute, and 55 seconds.
And GG's to Buane.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, just for putting up with this seed. And
he's
now we've
joining
got
us now.
Buane here with us. So, GG.
Hey,
Did you have fun?
Hey, GG.
how's it going? GG Lin.
GG point.
This was probably I've been spending the last 20 minutes thinking this has got to be a top 5 worst seed that I've played, and it's a contender for the top spot.
Yeah, I
Definitely.
could buy that.
Yes.
I can't. I actually am kind of shocked that I still couldn't even get sub 2, considering the boots were like 20 minutes into the game. I mean, they weren't super early, but to do that much running around the overworld again and again and again and again, even with boots, apparently that takes a long time. Who would have thought?
Changing screens is slow.
Yeah, and going to places that don't have items, also slow.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was I after I found the hammer and then found out that Aga was worthless because we got a Bowie and Ice anyway. I'm just sitting there saying, I hope he's God routed and is done at like 141 to put me out of my misery sooner. But no such luck. We
he
both
also
got
did Aga.
Yeah.
You both at about the same time. You had I think you also had Eastern, and Lynn might have had like Zora and maybe one other thing. But it kind of came down to, for us, because we had seen the other do both locations. It was Aga for the book, or Ice Palace without the hammer. Those are really bad choices.
It's hard to say which is right. I mean, and in the end, both could end up, having something. It's tough to say which is right and which is. If that decision comes up earlier in the seed, maybe it's a different story. But there was so much to do for a long time, just none of it was right. So by the time you got to that choice, you'd done so many things. At least I had done so many things that were just making me feel so bad. So it's like, all right, I'll get the book. It's not necessarily who cares, but you kind of have it's close enough that I'm not going to really think about it too hard. If I do one and my opponent does the other, the game is over anyway. So it's close enough to be, I do Ice Palace. It doesn't have anything. He gets the book and he's, on the right path, or vice versa. So I wasn't going to spend too much time trying to think of it at that point. And just decided, hey, book opens a good amount of items. Ice has a good amount of items because it's MC Shuffle, but, who knows? Who knows who knows good? Yeah, exactly. If you don't get a key.
Yeah, no hook shot, no hammer.
Yeah, it's close enough to a coin flip where I didn't spend too much time thinking, is this right? Is this not right? It was more, oh my God, please let me find something. It's been a while since I found anything. Help.
So since we did have a few issues with your stream, I'm just going to ask, before you got to Swamp, did you check some of those other one-offs like the big chest in Thieves Town?
Swamp was my last. I did do after Powder from Vitreous, which I wasn't going to kill Vidi, and I decided at the last minute, it's too late in the game. It feels like it's been too bad to start trying to make plays now. Like, why not just play it out? It could be on Vidi and you're fine. At that point in the game, it's kind of like, all right, I surrender. So I'm just going to do everything that's in my way. So I kill Vidi, I get Powder, and I have the 3 items over in Village of Outcasts now that are looking okay. Powder, Thieves' Big Chest, and Hammer Pegs. So I'll go do those, and then I'll head back down to Swamp for a second dip in there. I was just hoping, really, really hoping, especially when I found the hookshot, that it wasn't up in Hookshot Cave, because I messed up the bonk after the hover, and if either was up there, I was going to feel really, really sad. But luckily, it wasn't in Hookshot Cave. It was just a green pendant again. So if we could stop getting these like all dungeons green pendant turn-in required seeds in game 3, we just get a nice normal seed. That would be spectacular.
I believe the phrase you're looking for is Stoops Jet.
Yeah, I mean, there was some interesting stuff in this seed. It just everything was wrong, so it made you feel really, really bad about all your decisions.
Right. Anyways, let's not talk about that. Actually, Lynn, you have something you want to say before I move on?
No, pretty much. I feel the same way about this. I mean, we did almost the same. I just didn't go back to Outcast or anything. But yeah, I want a normal seed, please.
So instead of talking about that disaster of an endgame, then let's talk about Sphere 1.
Oh man, one of the worst light worlds that you never want to see. That you never ever want to see. Well, I have Mitts and Moon Pearl, and I have nothing else. What do I do? Yeah. And that's of course what we had. At least Boots and Mirror, which are very, very big helps in that situation, showed up right away. But it's still like, anytime you have Mitts for Dark World access, it can be a little awkward. And when you have nothing else to help direct you, you're like, if this hammer doesn't show up really soon, there's so many awkward situations you can get in. And then we got into all of the awkward situations.
You really did. You really did. This seat had all of them.
Get the flipper so you can go to pod. So let's check pod. Found a cane that is Bolog, but it doesn't do anything. And that's the only thing you find.
I didn't even get that cane my first trip to pod. That was my second trip to pod that I got the cane. So, yeah, I just had too many trips around the world, too many trips to dungeons, triple dip pod, double dip swamp, Just
So-
it wasn't pretty.
So moving on to game 3, Buane, you get to change something. Are we doing map compass again?
I am
No.
getting rid of map compass. Not that it was really the culprit in this one. It's not a bad mode by any stretch. The things that were wrong with this seed were not really map compass shuffle.
I mean,
I guess it makes the book a little more attractive.
exactly.
But,
That's what I said earlier.
yeah.
Like, Desert turns into instead of 2, it turns into 4 items, and that's
Mhm.
where it actually is attractive. But I
Yeah,
don't think it is as
it's
attractive.
probably tilts it more towards ice in that situation. But I'd be curious to know which was the logically required bow. I'm gonna assume it was probably the I'm gonna hope it was the Bombos tab or the Ether tablet bow, just to make me feel a little bit better. But yeah, I'll just go back to regular open. We actually threw it up on the schedule. It'll be tomorrow night. We're gonna finish this one out.
Oh, excellent.
All right.
Since we really want to get more rando in after tonight's seed. We just can't wait a whole day. We'll just get this done tomorrow night. But
Although I
it's been a
can
great
say
series.
that there was no logical requirement on Ether Tablet Bow, unless you consider Silver Arrows a logical requirement for anything.
Yeah. Well, I just mean in terms of the playthrough. Not that it matters, obviously, at all. But since
The
only one of the
playthrough is
bows,
run by like a 4-year-old child.
since only one of the bows gets considered, it's just like I would like to know in V30 would that have still been the bow and at least made it a little bit
Sure,
worth it. But
sure.
Yeah,
who really cares at this point, right?
yeah. If you're looking at it
just
from that
grasping.
perspective,
Grasping for anything I can get here. But yeah,
Just to
we're
make it
we're
feel
due a
less
nice
bad.
easy seed. It doesn't have to be a super fast 106, but we're due just a regular, winning time 123, losing time 124. How about that? Is that so much to ask for out of this series?
Well, it sounds like would be a fun race, 1 minute off. So let's
Yeah,
have that
yes.
tomorrow.
Fun to watch. Chat gets a kick out of it, and whoever loses feels like, it was really close, and that's fine. That's not another one of these where we both feel terrible after it's over.
yeah. You said earlier that you thought this was among the worst seeds you've ever played, and I'm inclined to agree, even if only for that single reason. Like, this was just not a fun seed from any perspective.
Just mean-spirited is how I would describe it. But yeah, I mean, and it wasn't, clearly you get into seeds like this, and then honestly, seeds like this happen more often than, super fast, easy seeds. So it's a credit to Lin and his routing that he was that far ahead. I mean, it wasn't close, even though we both did a ton of stuff. So to be, 6 minutes faster, that's pretty good. I'll watch it back just to, get a few kicks out of what we're both banging our heads against the wall. And then hopefully we'll come back for game 3 and finish the series out without any of these kind of shenanigans. Or the shenanigan, or game 1. I mean, both of these seeds have not exactly been what you want to see.
While that's accurate, I'm going to remind you that you both said you had fun with the game 1 seed.
I'm having a ton of fun. I'm having so much fun. It feels like I played a whole seed and a half of fun.
Yeah, that's the spirit.
All right. All right. Anything else either one of you want to add before we close this out?
No, just GG to Lin. Looking
Yeah.
forward to game 3, and whoever moves on, it's been fun.
It's been a lot of fun. I was really looking for it. That match against Buane. Like, I've basically improved a lot since a year, and like being able to face someone like Buane 1v1 is just really, really. How can I put that? I'm just having a lot of fun.
And I can personally attest that being able to visually see your growth by being able to stack up against runners you respect is a very satisfying thing.
Thanks.
So I'm glad to hear you're getting that out of this too, because I love seeing other people have that sort of experience.
These tournaments are a lot of fun. This one, no exception. It's been so long since we had just 1v1 rando is a lot of fun. Especially when you have the stakes of the tournament, this late in the tournament, playing somebody, I would say that Lin is really experienced, plays in the dailies all the time. So I've run, 100 races against him by this point. So you know, it's fun to play against somebody you know is really good, very thoughtful about their routing, and is going to present as much a challenge as anybody else in this round of, what do we even have left? 32.
You guys are round of 32. Round of 64 not actually done yet. I think it's probably about halfway done scrolling down the bracket.
Yeah, so everybody in
And
here deserves it, and you know, it's fun to kind of to test your luck more than anything, but also your skills. And you know, like Lynn said, it's been, you know, if he's been playing for a year, over a year, it's been a year since anybody got to do a tournament like this. So it's exciting if this is your first big one. It's exciting if this is your, you know, third big tournament. It's nice to be able to do this in addition to the dailies and weeklies and big races that are going on, because it's just such a different animal. These 1v1 high stakes races, it's so much fun. And you know, hopefully game 3 is also fun for one of us.
Yeah.
Let's
Hopefully
hope.
it's fun for both of you, but
Well, I'm not going to be greedy here.
Yeah, I will say, looking at the schedule, your game 3, I think, will put the first person in the round of 16 as well, regardless of which you.
Oh, that's another reason we should. I didn't even think of that when I was suggesting we do it tomorrow. But yeah, that's right. Well, whoever wins will get in first. They'll be the first round of 16. So that'll be cool.
Definitely.
All right. Yeah, so that'll do it for us. First of all, if you are not already following these guys, be sure to do so. You can click on the links on the schedule. Also follow my co-commentator, Reg, and our wonderful tracker, iBot02. There is, if you're still looking for some randomizer right now over on Speed Gaming 2, Scary Olive playing Zelda Dissen. So go ahead and tune in over there. And we do have several races scheduled tomorrow. At 6:50, we have Ninban versus Kappa, just scheduled, as you've heard. At 7:20, we have Buane versus Linlinlin. And then at 8:20, we have a pair of matches, Big Dunka versus Jay Meisher and McLagging versus Frostbite. So a whole lot of randomizer coming up tomorrow for you to watch.
Yep, and I think with that, we are about done here. So I guess, unless Buane or Lynn's got anything they want to say at the end, we'll be seeing you guys with some other match in the future.
All right. Again, thanks to our runners. Thanks to our runners, Buane and Lynn. Thanks to my co-com Reg and our tracker iBot. And we will see you at the next one.